Hi everyone, today's video I'm going to try and tackle the tricky subject of painter's block, or more specifically what I do to try and overcome it. And I'm sure we've all been there at some point. You know you want to paint something but nothing's jumping out as a subject. Well, with this little exercise, I mean it helps me quite a bit, so hopefully it'll help you find a bit of inspiration. Usually just start by wetting the paper as usual, lay the board flat as well, just mix up just what's left over in the palette basically. I think there's a bit of cadmium red, maybe a bit of burnt sienna. Get that quite wet in the brush, and then I just drip it on, just squeeze the edge of the brush, drip the paint on, just let it flow, let it go wherever it wants to go. Add some blue to that. Probably should have put some fresh paint in my palette before starting this actually, but see how we get on with what's there. The whole idea of this really is just to squeeze the paint on, no real plan. I think it's going to be a landscape, but really that's about it. Touch of cad red, a bit of raw sienna. I mean, already I can see it's probably going to be a bush or a shrub there, maybe a large tree to the right. The nice thing about doing this is you just wait and see what you get, and then have a look basically once it's dry, and it takes the decision out of it, does the painting for you. And there's plenty of warm colours there on the paper, so try and get a bit of cool in there. That's a bit of Cobalt and some Cerulean. Okay, give that another go with a mister. See, it's quite wet, so I'll just pick the board up. Just tilt it from side to side, let the paint move around. Give it a little bit of a shake, let it move about even more. So already I think I can see some distance forming there where that blue's kind of separated from the brown. Okay, I'm definitely thinking that's going to be a tree to the right, so just try and get a little bit more shape on that. I mean, the good thing about just dripping it straight out of the brush is that the paint goes exactly where it wants. It kind of just makes the decision for you. I mean, it doesn't actually look like a tree at the moment, but I'm sure by the time it dries there'll be some kind of form there, some structure that I can make something out of. Okay, I think I'll just allow this to dry naturally as well, and hopefully there'll be maybe a few cauliflowers forming, some runbacks. Okay, that's fully dry now. I like the way that's dried. That's definitely looks like maybe some distant tree lines, something like that, and the shapes in there, the way that's kind of cauliflowered and overlapped, transparent layers. I mean, I'll probably cover up a lot of that I mean, that could just be like a little scrubby bush, something like that comes down at an angle. I'm thinking definitely a snow scene maybe, and a large tree, maybe like an oak with just a few leaves left over. So I grabbed the brush. It's just an old calligraphy brush that I've had for a long time. It's been well punished over the years and doesn't come to a point. I think try and find the shape of a tree amongst all of that. Just very loosely drag the brush on sideways, just to create the impression of some foliage, some twigs, and the last leaves are left over from the autumn. Just make it slightly darker towards the bottom. Okay, it's kind of like a scrubby bush or shrub or whatever it may be. So already just putting on a few hard edges pushes that distant area back. Okay, just bring that down at a slight angle. I might put maybe a path or a track leading up towards the larger tree. I mean, it's nice working this way. You never really know what you're going to end up with. Just think of abstract shapes, really. I suppose it's just kind of a few random grasses and twigs. It's just a touch of ultramarine and what's left in the palette, just to add some kind of shadows on the snow. A touch of magenta to that, just to make it a bit purple. Okay, bring that right across. That's a shadow of a tree that we can't see, maybe. Okay, a few directional lines just to lead you in. Okay, mix up a dark now, some ultramarine, some burnt sienna. Get a bit of form on that tree, just darken it at the bottom. and just darken the base of that bush. Okay, a few random branches and twigs, just to make it look more like a tree really. Still a bit of an odd shape, but sure we can work with it. A few more branches. I think I'll bring that out a bit further. It's getting more of a look of a scrubby winter tree. Bring another, just a random little branch, or maybe another tiny little tree that's next to it. A few suggestions of grasses, twigs and whatever it may be. Put some scrubby leaves just on the end of those branches. Bring some of that colour down into the foreground. Okay, it's just a few extra twigs and branches just with the back end of the brush. Okay, we'll dry that off quickly. Okay, I'm fairly happy with how that looks now, but I think I might add some sky, maybe a few clouds, or just to darken that area off. It's all a bit too bright really. I think it's looking okay as a sketch. It's definitely giving me inspiration for something I can do later. Okay, I put a touch of cadmium red into the grey that's left in the palette. Just drop that into the water that I sprayed on there. It's just a bit of cobalt blue. I mean, none of this really matters. I mean, it's only a sketch, but it's good to get an idea of what you can do later. Just paint around the tree. Just bring that down sort of up to the horizon, maybe just over the top of those distant tree shrubs, whatever they are. I think that do. It's fairly simple. I think I'll reflect some of that down into the snow in the foreground. Touch more colour at the base of that tree. A few more random grasses and twigs. Okay, I think that'll do. That's the finished painting. I mean, obviously it's not a masterpiece, but there's some elements that I like in there. It's got some distance and some perspective, some light, shadow, and I can work on that. That's something I can use as a reference for a painting later on. Well, I hope you liked it, and if so, please consider giving it a thumbs up, like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. As always, let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll see you next week.